Call this meeting to order. This is Tuesday, November 25th. This is the village board meeting. If we'd all stand, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Present.
Trustee DeVivo? Trustee Kajanis? Trustee Sabo?
Yes.
Trustee Suisse?
Present.
Trustee Yukich?
Present.
Mayor Daley?
Present. This would be D. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
I would like to add one thing onto old business and one thing onto, well, one thing to new business. It's just a discussion on the subdivision for Salting.
New business subdivision about salting.
Correct. Stone Bridge.
I'm not sure other way.
And then under,
There was something else?
Yep.
yeah, I wanted to bring up something under old business. No, I'll pass on that for right now.
I have something I would like to, on the consent agenda,
Yes.
change 5, 6, and 7 to action items for discussion.
Is there some reason that...
Well, I think there was a question on the funding.
Okay, well, let's see here then. Does anybody have a problem moving 5, 6, and 7 from the consent agenda? They would have to go 13, 14, 15, I guess. Is that correct, Mark?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have a problem with that?
Well,
Okay, then we'll move 5, 6, and 7 off the consent agenda and on to legislation as 13, 14, and 15. Are there any other amendments to the agenda? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of September 24th, 2014 Village Board meeting?
I so moved.
First by Trustee Sabo,
second.
second by Trustee Yukich. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be F. This would be F. Is there a motion to approve the accounts payable for the period of October 24th through November 26, 2014?
So moved.
First by Trustee Costa,
I second.
second by Trustee Suisse. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I have a question, Mayor.
Go ahead.
On, I think it was page 6. It was on page 6, the Hazel and Levine. I passed out just now, I think that should have, it went directly from A&F to the AP for payment, which is fine, but I think the agenda supplement sheet from the Finance Committee was very informative, and I think it should have been shared with the rest of the board. That's all, that was just my comment.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other comments? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be reports and communications from the mayor and other officers. Let's do a little switch up for once in a while and hear from the trustees first. So let's start with Trustee Suisse down here.
Well, that'll be easy. I have no report, Mr. Mayor, other than to wish everybody a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
How about
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Suisse. How about Trustee Sabo?
Yes, I have a report, reporting for the Environment Committee. The first item is tree planting in the Homer Glen Public Parkways. The tree replacement program has been completed. for the fall planting. 75 trees were planted in the Homer Glen public right-of-ways. This is a program only for public property. The Environment Committee wishes to thank the Environment Committee staff liaison, Sue Stylen, for coordinating the program and putting in the necessary effort to make sure that the planting of the trees was done in an organized and timely manner. Plans for the spring tree planting program will be discussed in the near future to prepare for 2015. The next Environment Committee meeting will take place on Tuesday, December 2nd at 7 p.m. and the public is invited. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Sabo. Trustee Yukich?
No report tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, how about Trustee Costa?
Yeah, just briefly, Mr. Mayor, you know, as we saw just the other day, a little bit of snow flying. Just remind everybody, please drive safely through the subdivisions, actually drive safely everywhere. But, you know, the last couple of days before it gets too real cold, kids are going to try to get their last couple hours outside, so please be careful. And also, just a happy Thanksgiving to everybody and have a safe holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Costa. Before I do my report, I just wanted to let everybody know that I got an email. Good morning. My name is, I believe I'm pronouncing it right, Tanya Phillips. I'm a freshman at the University of St. Francis. I'm taking a political science course here at USF and was assigned a project on Homer Glen. Basically, myself and two others are to construct a final project displaying knowledge of Homer Glen and the structure of the township system. We will be attending the meeting tonight, and if it's okay with you and your board members, we would like to get some interviews to add to our project. We were also wondering if you had any more last-minute questions, if you could contact yourself or other board members via mail. Please let me know what your thoughts are on that. Thank you for your time. You know, would the three people that are here tonight stand up so we know who they are? There's two? Okay. All right. After the meeting, feel free to corner any of these guys and, you know, ask them anything they know about Homer Glen and the history of Homer Glen. Okay, thank you. Okay, now getting to the mayor's report. First, I'd wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving for you and your families. Well, there's more good news about the village of Homer Glen. In addition to being named the safest community in Illinois this past year and being recognized by the GFOA for outstanding financial reporting, the village recently received yet another recognition. The Illinois Policy Institute has awarded the village of Homer Glen with a coveted Sunshine Award for online transparency. The Institute so honored the village of Wilmette, City of Carbondale, Village of Huntley, and the Village of Homer Glen. All four communities are receiving the Institute's coveted Sunshine Award. The Village of Homer Glen takes pride in scoring high on the Institute's 10-point transparency checklist, used to analyze online transparency standards for local governments. The Institute most recently, Municipal Review, analyzed the websites of the state of Illinois' 76 through 100 largest communities. In this group of 25, only Homer Glen and 3 other towns received the Institute's highest award. I'm very proud of the village's transparency, the many honors, awards, and recognitions the village of Homer Glen continues to receive. Update on business investment in Homer Glen. This is what I'd like to talk about. I'm happy to report yet another $341,000 investment in Homer Glen with the new office project by Meridian Investment and the upcoming remodeling project by Chase Bank. This brings recent total new store, new office, business expansion, or business remodeling investments in Homer Glen to almost $22 million. This represents investments by 24 different projects, large and small, all providing great examples of how important economic development and tax-based diversification is in Homer Glen. Clearly, businesses would not be investing almost $22 million here in town if they didn't believe, as I do, that Homer Glen has a bright future. Under IDOT grants, my request to lower speed limits on 159th Street. This past year, I requested that the Illinois Department of Transportation look at a reduction of various speed limits on 159th Street as part of their construction project. This is an important safety issue for the residents of Homer Glen, and I continue to be a strong advocate for safe roadways. Within the corporate boundaries of Homer Glen, this is how the future speed limits will lay out. The section of 159th Street from Woolcook Road to Bell Road will remain at 45 miles an hour. Currently, from Bell Road west to Parker Road, the speed limit is 50 miles an hour. IDOT has agreed to honor my request to lower the speed limit in this area. The new speed limit will be 45 miles an hour. Immediately west of Parker Road, the speed limit is currently 55 miles an hour. IDOT has agreed to my request to lower the speed limit in this area, extending to the west side of Marion Village and Loyola Medical Campus. The reduced speed limit in this area will be 50 miles an hour. Each of these speed reductions is an important victory for Homer Glen. I will continue to be an advocate for lower speed limits, and as the construction project moves forward, will continue to encourage IDOT to consider further speed limit reductions. Under the Homer Township Chamber hires a new executive director. The Chamber of Commerce has hired a new executive director. Jane Bouchon was hired for the position of executive director and is here with us this evening. I want to congratulate Jane and wish her well in her new position. The Village and Chamber have a strong partnership, and we look forward to that. Continuing. Jane, are you here tonight? Okay. How about we come on up and we'll take a picture. Michelle, you want to join us? I'll come. Okay.
Get in that picture.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's try to get rid of those blue dots in the eyes. Finally, I want to wish the Providence Celtics the best of luck this weekend in their upcoming state football championship game against Cary Grove. As everybody knows, we have a number of Homer Glen residents on the football team, and we want them to know how proud we are of their accomplishments this season. Good luck, Providence. And that concludes the mayor's report. Does the treasurer have a report?
Yes, Mayor, I have the Treasurer's Report of Cash and Investments at October 31st, 2014. It's the midpoint of the year. The general fund had cash and investments at October 31 totaling $4,768,912.40. The motor fuel tax fund had a cash and investment balance of $2,419,400.61. The park fund had a balance of $2,327,579.26. The debt service fund had a balance of $1,330,982.78, and the capital project funds had cash and investments of $22,056,089.73. Within that total is the bond fund, capital project bond fund balance, which is $15,487,190.12. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, John. Does the clerk have a report?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Does the village attorney have a report?
No report this evening, Mr. Mayor.
How about any public safety officials? And how about the village manager?
Yes, Mayor, real quick, if I could. The village's Christmas tree lighting ceremony is going to be next Monday, starting at 7 p.m. at the junior high, right up the street on Bell. So there'll be hot chocolate, and the choir will sing as they usually do, and there'll be a visit from Santa. So we, of course, invite everyone who'd like to join us on December 1st at 7 p.m. to please do so. The next meeting of the Village Hall Remodeling Committee will be Thursday, December 11th at 3 p.m. And I'll send out a note that was just solidified with Williams Architects today, so I'll send a note out to the board about that. I'm happy to report that our Heroes Trail bench sponsorship program is going great. And I think the last meeting or the meeting before, I reported that we had 3 benches that had been donated, which was outstanding. The Homer Glen Foundation has made it 4 with a $2,000 donation this past week. So we appreciate their generosity quite a bit. Every bench that is donated will have a plaque on it, and either the individuals, the families, or the organizations that donate that get to decide what they want on that plaque. If anyone has any questions about how they could potentially donate and sponsor a bench, you can certainly call us here at Village Hall. We'd be happy to help you. On behalf of the village staff, I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Back in 2009, I was the village manager of Cary, rooting for Cary Grove to beat Providence. This time, I'm happy to root for Providence to beat Cary Grove, and I think it's going to be a great game this weekend. Look forward to it. It's really amazing when a high school team has a shot at 10 state championships. That's really something else. So, Mayor, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next portion of this meeting would be public comment. Carl, 708-645-0456. Step up to the microphone and give us your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Carl Bonavolonto. Address is 12320 West 143rd here at Homer Glen. I'm the owner of the original Mr. Beef.
Okay.
I'm here for the special use liquor license.
Yeah, wait, you're on the agenda for tonight. This is your opportunity in public comment to say whatever you would like to say about anything you'd like to say.
I guess just to try to enhance my business. I've been out here for about 16 years doing business in this town. I run a nice, clean operation. I guess that's it.
Okay.
Nothing fancy, just.
Okay. If there's any particular questions at the time you come up on the agenda, I'll definitely have them asked directly to you.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Cindy Swede. Did I say that right? Okay. I'm never going to get them right.
Hello, my name is Cindy Swed, 12155 West 179th Street. My name is Cindy Swed, and God, I can't, oh, there. And I'm here to show my support for Dave and Melanie Loffer. 32 years ago, we had the good fortune of purchasing some land and building our home across the street from Loffer Farm. In all that time, Dave and Mel have shown themselves to be the best of neighbors for which anyone could ask. It is my privilege to call them my friends. They are honest, hardworking, and trustworthy. I have no doubt that as they embark on this new venture for Loffer Farm, they will continue to be the same giving, considerate neighbors they have always been. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Bob and Terry Hensel? Okay.
Hi, I'm Terry Henschel. The property address is 13010 West 159th Street in Homer Glen. And the item that I would like to speak regarding is the IDOT's upcoming 159th Street Road Improvement Project. We recently received an email regarding the relocation of signs and also referenced the availability of 0% interest for the non-conforming sign replacement. One thing that I would like to request the board consider, however, is that those of us on 159th Street are now going to be non-conforming due to the fact IDOT has taken so much from us. So I would like to request that the consideration be given to those of us that are in fact having to relocate and replace signs, that loan program include non-conforming signs when it is a hardship created by an undertaking other than that which we had any control over.
Okay, thank you. Okay, did Bob want to speak also or not?
She's on to it better than I do.
Okay. Let's see. Yes, sir. I'll put you on last. Hold on. Okay, then the next speaker would be Cindy or Tom Sybil.
Hi, my name is Tom Sybil, 14001 Kickapoo, that's Homer Glen. I'm here to ask that the ordinance 14-071 regulating the control of animals, that everybody vote against it. Consider it to be ill-advised and not necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Would Cindy like to say anything? Okay. Jane? Yes?
Thank you for the intro.
B-U-S-H-O-N-G.
No, I'm good, thank you for the
Okay.
introduction.
Okay. Okay, then we would have Jean Olszewski. Sorry, I murdered it every time. Now, Jean, we try to keep it to 3 minutes.
Okay, and I've talked before, I'm going to read something. This is from an actual dog attack. I know everyone thinks a dog bite is a dog bite. There's a difference between breeds of dogs. Dogs are bred for certain purposes. Border collies herd sheep, pointer hunting dogs hunt, greyhounds race, pit bulls have been bred to fight and kill. This is Carol McCullum in California. Her daughter, Michelle Greenfield, had to save her dog from a pit bull attack. This is exactly what happened. If somebody's kind of squeamish, this is really, really bad. Okay, because the people, you know, they go on that the news media such a sensationalism. She says, you were not there. You have no idea what transpired. My daughter took her 98-year-old grandmother for a scenic walk. My daughter had her 7-year-old Pembroke Corgi, Harley, on a leash. A pit bull, not on a leash, ran up and grabbed onto the neck of Harley. The owner was ineffective in his futile attempt to open his pit bull's mouth to get Harley free. My 98-year-old mother, who was on blood thinner and who has dementia, stood there freaked out. The pit bull did not let go of Harley. Okay, some of you idiots want to call this sensationalism. You were not there. Why do you think your input is valid? In order to get the pit bull to let go of Harley, Michelle, after poking the pit bull in both eyes and kicking it and trying to pull it off Harley, Michelle made a decision to leave her beloved Harley for a few seconds, to run to her car, to get a knife, and she had in a picnic basket in her car. She came back with that knife and repeatedly had to stab the pit bull in the eyes. What other dog would not let go? No. Then cut its jugular and carotid and jugular, and still wouldn't let go of Harley. Michelle gutted the pit bull, slicing it from one end to the other, it still tried to crawl towards Harley. My daughter held that pit bull in her arms till it died to keep it from latching onto Harley again. The pit bull owner, while arguing with his girlfriend, took off. Michelle managed to get his license plate. He tried to run her down. The cops caught him. To all of you uninformed persons who want to call this sensationalism and think it's another stupid attack on pit bulls, my daughter is traumatized and physically injured. She may never regain the full use of her right hand. Her sweet Harley is traumatized and is on edge, freaking out at the sound of dogs barking and any other sudden noises. Today in the news in Salt Lake City, Utah, a child was mauled by a pit bull. People wake up. And that child had his intestines ripped out, his ear ripped off, his eye ripped out, his bones broken.
Yeah.
These are, and something needs to be done.
Okay, thank
To
you.
prevent these dogs to keep continuing to do this in the community. Right in Pebble Creek, I talked to another woman today, and another one, there's been 3 attacks by 3 different pit bulls, just in one little subdivision.
Okay, thank you. The next speaker would be John Coy.
John Coy, 12056 Venetian Way, Homer Glen. Talking a little bit tonight about agendas. Agendas, when you look at them, and as I read this one earlier today to see if there was anything that I considered very important, important, and non-important. I look at it and I say to myself, okay, number 1, number 2, number 3, they give you all these what they're going to talk about, but they give you nothing as an insight as to what the prices are in some of these items. Now, when I get to one part in here in the agenda, we're talking about H.R. Green. Now, I have 7 pages here with marked off, and it says what H.R. Green was supposed to charge for these subdivisions and the work on these subdivisions. I can't compare these to anything, so I can't complain about it. You know, that makes me feel terrible. But anyway, and then I look at the one spot here. There, a motion to approve engineering services for H.R. Green for the south extension of Heroes Trail. Well, that was, I don't know if that money was given to them. Part of the money we're going to pay them tonight is that for that. Then I look at some of this other stuff, and the one that's here, this is the one that really, you know, kind of, I didn't remember this one. Maybe I wasn't here for that meeting. Presented by H.R. Green, results in the engineering, 9 subdivisions. Total cost to H.R. Green, $6,652,000. That's a lot of money going to H.R. Green. And we don't see none of this when I look at the agenda. I can't even compare to these other papers that I have here that tell me what we're supposed to pay them.
You know, hold on here a second. Hey, John, can you answer his question about
I think that $6 million represents the cost to correct the subdivisions?
Yeah, that's what it was, 6 million something to
I mean, if you were to
finish
do
them.
all the work, yeah, that's
Right.
not engineering fees, though.
Well,
That's
you know, it'd be
projected
nice
cost.
to have some of the figures, though, in the agenda that said you can compare apples to
They
apples.
did, John, they did a study for us, okay? And they said if you were to do it to the standards, if you were to build a subdivision to the standards that Homer Glen makes you build a subdivision standard to, the non-LOC subdivisions lack this dollar value of improvements that you would expect anybody that's going to build a new subdivision to build to. That's what that number represents. H.R. Green did not get $6 million. That was the total dollar value if you did it exactly the way our ordinance calls for, which we couldn't do it that route.
Right, I was in construction, so I kind of figured that, but people that aren't in it, and, you know, and then it had me a little confused with some of that stuff. But I think the agendas would look a lot better if somebody would put some price tags in what the board is voting on. You know, in other words, 50,000 for this subdivision, 20,000 for that subdivision, 100,000 for that. Who knows?
We have it. We know what we're voting on.
Oh, well, you have them, but when we look at the agenda, we have no idea. That's why
Yeah,
some...
it's on the website. Okay?
Sorry,
You're pretty good at looking up information on the website.
I am?
So, yeah, anything else?
That's
Okay.
it, thank you.
Thank you. Dennis Gerwing?
Dennis Irving, 12250 West Derby Lane, Northern Park, Glen. To a certain extent, I agree with John as far as the agenda is concerned. The public comments come before you guys vote on these things. I have brought this up before. I think the agenda could be improved by listing more information on what each one of these things are going to vote on contains. It doesn't have to make, you don't have to make a book out of it, but you know, a lot of these one-liners, if you want to comment on something, you know, you really don't know what it's all about. But anyway, I was at the meeting this past Thursday for the Village Hall plans, and of the four plans submitted, it seemed that most everybody was in favor of concept A, and I voiced my opinion as to be in favor of concept A, primarily because, as Mr. Sonamowitz will testify, I couldn't read it. Okay, I mean, you know, I'm getting to that age where things are going wrong, and the eyes are one of them. So I had that plan blown up to a size that I could read, and I no longer agree with concept A. I don't see the need, including the boardroom and the community room. I don't see the need for all those conference rooms. I see some offices there that I believe are for positions that we don't even have yet. There's one there for Parks and Recreation. I don't exactly know what that means. Does that mean we're going to have a potential park district and perhaps a taxing body? I don't know, because there's nothing explained about that. Anyway, if I heard correctly, and I was sitting behind you, Mayor Daley, and the architect, I believe if I heard correctly that he made a comment that trustees really don't need to see what the village hall plan is going to be. Now, if I misunderstood him, please correct me. If I didn't misunderstand him, then somebody should point out to the architect that it's the village board that runs this town. It's not the staff, with all due respect. It's not Mr. Mayor, with all due respect. The board runs this town, and they absolutely should be privy to anything that this village does. And for that architect, who has done many of these jobs, if he's, or he said he's done many of these jobs, and he was up for getting the job, he should know that. The village board runs the town. Let's not make any mistake about that. And I think perhaps maybe they should be a little bit more aggressive in some of the stands that's being taken in this town. Thank you.
Thank you. You said if you heard him correctly. I don't think you heard him correctly. I think that Mark Bushwood said that we're moving to a point where there seems to be a general consensus of this is a good layout for a municipal hall, and we have to move forward with smaller groups to get to the end result, to get to a set of construction plans, to get to a set that goes out for phase 3. That's pretty much, any trustee, anytime they want to sit in on any meeting, they're more than welcome to, and they know it. They don't need to be told that by Mark Bushwood. They don't need to be told it by anybody. So if they want to sit in on a meeting, more power to them. But the more people, the more hands trying to be in the same dish, sometimes, no, not sometimes, as Mr. Bushwood told you, 99.9% of the times doesn't work. We have representatives, probably about 13 different representative staff heads, myself, trustees. At some point, this thing has to be whittled down to where you move forward with a plan. Do you want to flip-flop rooms? Do you want to do this? But it was very, very obvious at that meeting that 10 of 11 people voted for the Plan A that they had laid out. And me as a builder, I thought it was a very well laid out municipal building due to the fact of the constraints that you have with the building being already built. It's not like it's a rectangular building. You know, how best can you fit what you need in this rectangular building? Mark Bushhouse is a quality firm. He was one of the 3 finalists. He was not my choice, by the way, just so you know. So he was other people's choices, but not mine. So anyway, yeah, okay. So we are working to an end result that you have to bring down the number of people, because here's another one for you, Dennis. I said this at about the 3rd meeting. I said every time we have one of these meetings, I would say somewhere around 70% of my staff is sitting in this room, all putting ideas into a village hall, while 70% are not working on village business besides the village hall. That's what we hired an architect for. That's what he gets paid, is to bring ideas forward. The ideas come to the trustees, they whittle it down, it goes out for bid, and it gets built. That's the way it is. That's the way I heard Mr. Bushhouse.
Okay.
But thank you for your comment.
Let me just say that, as I said, I may have not heard correctly what the man said, and you know where I was sitting.
Right.
So, okay, you clarified that. I apologize if there was a misunderstanding and I didn't understand what he said. But again, as far as the concept A is concerned, I got a few problems with that, but, you know, I'm not on the staff or on the village board, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thanksgiving.
You have a good Thanksgiving, too. I have Melanie Lawfer.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. We are David and Melanie Lawfer. We live at...
Oh, you came up both at once, just snuck up on me.
Oh, he asked me, would you like me to come? I said, sure. We live at 1...
You want to pull the microphone down in between you so yeah, there we go. We can hear you.
We live at 12108 West 179th Street in Homer Glen on the Lawfer Farm. And we are on the agenda this evening. We'd like to thank everyone for considering our application for a special use permit for a planned unit development. We are proposing to hold wedding ceremonies and similar milestone celebrations such as anniversaries and showers on our farm. The permit is conditioned upon 8 particulars, which are listed on our agreement, and we'd be happy and available to answer any questions you may have about any of them this evening.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker would be 708-301-4002. It looks like Rosalie. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I live at 13937 West Woodmill Court, and the reason that I'm here today is because I heard that the vote was coming up on the dog issue. And it's great to know that I personally live in a safe community, but my pet doesn't. And other pets that live in my area of Homer Glen and Pebble Creek have been attacked. My dog personally was attacked twice when my dog was chained up in front of our house while we were doing lawn work. We keep him on a small leash so we can see him. He cannot go onto the sidewalk, but yet he was attacked twice. Now, Kathy, who did lose her dog, was a vicious attack. It was horrific even for me to see that, to see all the blood, and to find out what had happened. I've had 2 neighbors, one on the corner of me in my subdivision that was attacked by a pit bull, and nothing became of that. They won't even pay for the vet bills. On the other corner, on 143rd and Pebble Creek, that woman's dog was attacked. So while, you know, we can boast about how safe we are here, it's not for the pets. And I think that something should be done. And I know it's coming up for a vote, and you guys looked at similar laws and what other communities have done. But I think, you know, pets are like children. You love them, and I understand why you don't want to lose yours. But we have to do something reasonable to protect our pets. And I'm hoping that you can, you know, be sensible about that too.
I understand, and I hope you understand that when you're going to create legislation, there's a fair amount of due diligence that not only the staff has to do, but relies upon the legal end of this entity to make sure what we're proposing is legal. So it doesn't, you know, it doesn't happen like that. But it is, yeah, it is. It is on the agenda, so we'll be talking about it later tonight. Okay, thank you. And I believe somebody that showed up late here tonight that has to be on the agenda. Bob, you want to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Shame on you showing up late.
Normally I'm here.
Asking for favors.
And I've had a situation, and you're aware of it, although you shouldn't if you're not. Anyway, I'm here, and we're going to talk about 159th Street. You're all aware what it is, INAC is proposing for 159th Street. In fact, it's not proposed. We all know that they're going to do it. Well, my problem now is, I hate to say this, but some of the ordinances that have been passed by the board will not enable the businesses to work for success. Once the IDOT starts, the highway, imagine this, and I talked about it before, only 20 feet from me. Now, maybe they don't consider us in Homer Glen human beings, but I'm sorry, IDOT, we are. We have a right to protect ourselves, and you have done your best job. Well, what now occurs once they do that? All right. As everyone here knows, I have a very, what I call, large sign on our property. Now that is easement. It's always been easement. All right. Well, we're going to have to move that. All right. Not only are we losing the sign, we are losing our well after almost 40 years. All right. Well, we have another issue. And the issue is, what do we do? With the street coming back, our signs going down, and people going 45, 50, 60 miles an hour, what good will a sign do? And I hate to say this, but the board said no more than 5 feet, 8 feet, no more than this. Well, folks, I'm doing 50 miles an hour. I don't see that sign. And nobody will. Well, now, we are a tax resident. All right? Everyone on 159th Street is a tax resident. Now, if we can't recognize that, and I know you do, you're in your math, but we need help. So what I'd like to see is that the people who are in the sign business authorize the small business owner to come up with a sign that will be illuminated, will use change the lettering. I agree, no flags. I don't like them, I don't want them in our town. But if we can't tell people that are coming from Rockport, Joliet, Lamar, Orland Park, if we can't tell them where we are, then the divided highway, that's it. You made them take a rope, hang it around our head and our neck, and we're dead. And Homer Glen loses. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Bob. Okay, that concludes public comment. The next portion of this meeting.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
You got number 3 on the list. E.
Number 3, let's see. Ed,
Sweat.
SWZED, Sweat?
SZW.
Okay. Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Well, my name is Ed Swed. I live at 12155 West 179th Street. This is regarding the Laufer Farm and their application for a new business to begin. When they started this, they had to send out letters to all the neighbors informing them what they were planning on doing. They sent those out. They were all registered letters. They got no negative comments back from any of the neighbors. So where they live, it's in the corner of the township. It's kind of off the beaten track of all of the township. So it's really kind of off the radar. The creative talents of Dave and Melanie. Dave being a farmer, you know, a farmer has to be kind of a jack of all trades and very ingenious. His wife, on the other hand, is the creative mind. When my daughter was in Italy, her husband proposed to her, or her fiance proposed to her. So when we had the wedding shower for them, we rented the Homer Township Village Hall and recreated an Italian little cafe on the inside. All the curtains, the wines, all the different things that would look just like an Italian little cafe there. All that creativity came from Dave and Melanie. My wife and I wouldn't have any idea really how to put all that together. And from the outside, you know what the Township Hall looks like. From the inside, it was completely different. It was a step into another country. That's the talents that they have. You mentioned earlier in your report that Homer Glen has got a lot of new business, major companies investing a lot of millions of dollars in Homer Glen. This is the opposite end of the spectrum. This is a small, unique, niche operation, something very different from the radar, but something that Homer Glen can be proud of. It's a business that offers something very different, very unique, but yet complements everything about Homer Glen and the country atmosphere. So I would like you to give some serious consideration to their proposal of what they're planning on doing. Between their talents that they have, her creative talents, and his having to put it all together, it'll be a very successful business and a real feather in the cap for Homer Glen. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. And I'd just like you to know that the point that you brought up, bringing, you know, sales tax dollars into the community, we don't have a municipal property tax, so it's very important for us to bring in the sales in. But I will tell you one thing that I've heard in the 7.5 years since I've been mayor. One of the most attractive things of this community is the semi-rural atmosphere it offers, and some of the more unique forest preserves, more unique open areas and what have you. So that's something that'll never get lost here. And but we on the flip side, we do have to pay our bills.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but with the unique setting that they have with the pond and everything, it'd be a real feather for us.
I think it'll work okay.
Okay, thank you again.
Yep. Okay, that concludes public comment then. The next portion of this meeting and we moved 5, 6, 7 out of the consent agreement, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the following items or businesses? Consider approval for 2015 Illinois Municipal League Risk Management Association, IMLRMA, contribution invoice renewal. That's number 1. 2, consider for approval motion authorizing the village's second payment as of our audit solutions. 3, consider for approval ordinance number 14-075, an ordinance declaring surplus property and authorizing its recycling or donation. And 4, consider for approval the 2015 meeting schedule calendar for the Village Board, Plan Commission, and the village committees.
So moved.
First by Trustee Costa.
I second.
Second by Trustee Suisse. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Okay, keep that one open. Let's see here. Consent agenda. Okay, this would be J1. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-068, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of a special use to permit the sale of alcoholic beverages for the property commonly known as 12320 West 143rd Street, Unit 5, Homer Glen, Illinois, original Mr. Beef of Orland Park, DBA, the original Mr. Beef, as recommended by the Plan Commission.
So moved.
Second.
That was first by Trustee Yukich,
George.
second by Trustee Sabo. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations, Carl, wherever you're at. Okay. Okay. 2, J2. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-069? An ordinance amending section 13 of ordinance number 14-021, providing for the control of alcoholic liquor within the village of Homer Glen. It is understood that the number of Class A liquor licensed restaurants with service bar will increase from 3 to 4 with the village of Homer Glen.
So moved.
First by Trustee Costa, second by Trustee Yukich. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be, let me catch up here. This would be J3. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-070, an ordinance assigning an available Class A liquor license to Carl Bon Voltalento? Yeah. The original Mr. Beef, Inc., DBA, the original Mr. Beef Restaurant with Service Bar, located at 12320 West 143rd Street, Homer Glen, Illinois.
I so move.
First by Trustee Sabo.
Second.
Second by Trustee Yukich. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Okay, this would be 4, J4. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-071, an ordinance regulating the control of animals and amending ordinance 07-041 in the village of Homer Glen, Will County, Illinois?
So moved.
First by Trustee Yukich.
Second.
Second by Trustee Costa. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, just a
Go ahead.
couple of quick points. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use the criteria for a dangerous dog versus a vicious dog when deeming which the animal is. Is that correct? So whoever we put on the committee or the force that's going to do this is strictly on what the criteria the animal meets.
Right.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
I have one change to it, too. On page 8, section 5, towards the back. It says, "No person shall permit a dangerous to be kept." Forgot dog.
What page?
Page 8, section 5, confinement of dangerous dogs.
Dangerous, we'll insert the word dog. Got it.
And then the other thing is, what we would like to do is, I had a veterinarian call me and say that she would like to sit down with us. She does analyze the dogs to see where they fall in that line, and she would like to be part of this, the committee on it if we have any changes. So I would like it to be able to add her to it if we're going to discuss this further.
Okay, no problem.
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Trustee Sabo.
There's a group of people that are going to be part of the, and that I think is what Trustee Yukich had mentioned. And there are, I'm looking for exactly where that is. But I think that there should be someone that knows dogs, that analyzes dogs, in addition to the 3 that parties that are supposed to be on there. So if that's part of the change that Trustee Yukich is talking about, I do agree with that.
Yes.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Margaret?
One last maintenance item, Mayor, if I could.
Go ahead.
Just
Trustee
on
Costa.
on page 4, the votes required to pass, if we could cross out Nemec and put Sweeze in there, please. Because I keep record of the votes.
I couldn't hear you, pardon me?
Yeah. Just page 4, we just have to change, put a name, put Trustee Sweeze in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I have one question
Go
for
ahead,
the
Trustee
attorney.
Suisse.
For Attorney Stirk.
Go right ahead.
When it says a ordinance for, in the village of Homer Glen, is there a, no, just your motion.
Where are we at?
On the front page.
Front page?
Motion to consider this ordinance in the village of Homer Glen. Does that mean, is it a territorial thing? What if the person is in Homer Glen, but it happens out in the township location? What is?
This only deals with what happens in the village. You don't have
Only in the village?
You don't have any extraterritorial authority.
Okay, so if you're in the dog park or in Culver Park, if you're outside the village limits, then this does not apply?
It's only in Homer Glen.
Even though the dog or the people live in Homer Glen?
Yes.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be J5. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-072, an ordinance granting a variance for off-street parking from the applicable regulations of the zoning ordinance for the property commonly known as 13010 West 159th Street, Homer Glen, Illinois, RDH Properties, as recommended by the Plan Commission?
So moved.
First by Trustee Costa,
Second.
second by Trustee Yukich. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk,
I
please.
have discussion.
You-
Your
Mar-
nano minutes are too fast.
Margaret, I'm wearing a pair of glasses to see from here to here, so go like this. Jim, hold on.
But you give nanosecond times. I'd like you to give a few seconds before you call the vote. Anyway, it says in here that the special use that was granted to the previous owner is no longer passed on to the new owner. And that's understandable. And the, so I'm just, it really doesn't pertain to this one with off-street parking, but it is a question for something that goes on later. Again, this is a not a self-imposed problem. This was a problem that is created by IDOT, and these new owners have no have no say in it. So at the last meeting, we discussed that since there is are fees involved, and since they are not asking for the variance because they want it, that we should, as a board, discuss what, if the fees can be reduced or if the fees can be waived. So that's something that I would like to see happen to help these business owners. It's going to be very expensive to move the signs or to move the fence or whatever. So I'm not bringing this up under old business because we've talked about it before. I could bring it up under old business, but I do believe that it is important to consider the expense for these people because, anyway, it falls under something else too. Yes, that's true. So anyway, that was my comment.
Okay. So Mayor, if I could just...
And if it was also it was necessary for this property before, when it was Frank's Automotive and Towing, to have a grant a special use for that? Is it necessary to grant a special use for heating and cooling?
No, I think Erin was just bringing that up in historical reference, like she always does for each property, what has happened recently. So she's just providing information about, past decisions that the board's made about the property.
Yeah, I do know, but
doesn't have any relevance on this
Okay,
issue.
so they don't need a special use for heating and cooling?
Right.
Right, okay, I just wanted to make sure. It didn't sound like they would.
And Mayor, if I could just address real quick Trustee Sabo's earlier comments. I know that the Community and Economic Development Committee is going to be working some proposals through their committee back to the board about fees as they relate to when businesses are impacted by road projects, whether it's 159th or maybe 143rd down the road with the county, et cetera. So they're working some proposals through that will probably be coming back before the village board.
That's good to hear.
Okay, any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be J6. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-073, an ordinance granting a variance to permit a fence in the corner side yard and a variance to permit a fence in an industrial zoning district not to exceed 8 feet in height for the property commonly known as 13010 West 159th Street, Homer Glen, Illinois, RDH Properties, as recommended by the Plan Commission.
So moved.
Second.
First by Trustee Yukich, second by Trustee Sabo. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. All right, on this one, in the past, when it was operated by Frank's Automotive and Towing, it was granted a special use because they wanted to store items for their business. So this ordinance is not granting a special use because they want to store items. It's granting a special use because of the fence situation. But are they storing items?
Just our vans. Just our trucks.
No?
That's it.
You just want a fence?
Well, to secure the building. To secure the building, yeah.
Okay.
The variance on this one is required because the height of the fence is taller than what we allow.
I know, it just makes reference here to there was a special use granted that doesn't follow with the new owner, and it had to do with the storing. So I wanted to know if they were storing because it wasn't.
It's a very good question. Just historical reference. That's all that is.
It sounds like there's some type of screening going on too, which is good because we've asked for screening in all kinds of situations. And does that answer your question?
I think it's a good idea for them to have the fence.
Good. Okay. We got one yes vote.
May I also just add one quick comment?
Go ahead.
Frank's Towing never occupied the property. There was, I guess, a special use permit in process, but they never occupied the property because of other requirements that they never met. So I just kind of wanted to make that clarification that they never did occupy the property or the yard.
And you're not storing either. You're just.
I'm a heating and cooling company. I have trucks back there. I have furnaces and air conditioners. But they're inside the building primarily, so it's not special use such as Frank's was requesting.
Okay, thank you. Does that answer your question, Trustee Sabo?
Okay, so the applicant said they're not storing anything that requires a special use, but they are storing.
Okay. The vehicles, yeah. All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Yes.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations. This would be J7. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 14-074, an ordinance granting a variance from the distance of a monument sign from the property line for the property commonly known as 13010 West 159th Street, Homer Glen, Illinois, RDH Properties, as recommended by the Plan Commission?
So moved.
First by Trustee Yukich.
I second.
Second by Trustee Swees. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I have a couple questions here.
Go right ahead.
As for the sign, a lot of people that are coming up and down 159th Street are going to be running into the same problem. We brought this up at the last meeting because at the time they were saying that everyone had to have a plat of survey so they could find out where the line was. We did talk to the state. The state says they are putting the monument signs in the ground so we know exactly where their property begins and where your property begins. So we should be able to work off of that. Plus, under J12, we're going to go into redefining the ordinance to make sure that, for right now, anyone that's on 159th Street to be able to go off a site plan too. So it'll be able to be moved without having to get a survey for it. And as Trustee Sable had said before, we are working on something to eliminate the cost for the variance, because this is something that you didn't decide to do. If some business decides to do something, okay, they can take care of the variance. It's something that's kind of shoved down your throat. We don't want you going to pay for it.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be J8. Is there a motion to approve the attached proclamation declaring November 29, 2014 as Small Business Saturday in the Village of Homer Glen?
So moved.
First by Trustee, was that Sabo?
Yes.
Second.
Second by, that was Trustee Costa. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Are you going to read the proclamation?
Trustee Costa? Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Let's see here, this would be number 9, J9. Is there a motion to authorize the mayor to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Homer Township to co-sponsor the 2015 Homer Community Festival on June 25th through June 28, 2015?
So moved.
First by Trustee Costa,
Second.
second by Trustee Yukich. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like to make a comment. The page isn't numbered, but it would be number 5 on the page, and it has to do with what they're going to be doing, actually, like bands, DJs, carnivals. When it comes to item D, festival events such as Special Needs Day and Bag Tournament, this past year they tried that. It was very successful to have a special time for people with special needs, and I commend the committee for doing that again.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other comments? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. This would be J10. Is there a motion to approve the Williams Architects Professional Architectural Service invoice for October 2014 in the amount of $6,260.08?
So moved.
First by Trustee Costa,
I second.
second by Trustee Swees. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. Please.
Go right ahead.
I'd gone over the plans because I was unable to stay for the meeting. And everything that we had talked about 2 weeks before really didn't change. We now have a community room that's going to be 891 square foot. That's about 1/3 of this building. And for a community center, that's too small. Inside the plans, we also have, for the A plan, we have 5 meeting rooms, which we have 11 employees. So I don't know why we're still we're filling up the building, is what we're doing. There's offices for people that we don't even have, which we still could do building later. I still am totally against spending $2.4 million to build out something. I still think it's an excess amount of money. It's stuff that we don't need. We have intern offices. We have assistant to whatever, and then here we have village manager, assistant to the village manager, and administrative assistant. We filled up the building. That's all we did. We put walls up throughout the whole building. That was not the intent when we got into this. The intent was to make it a village hall, and this is more than double of what we have here right now, and we don't need all that space, and we don't need to spend all the money. So all I'm saying is I do want it changed. I put my opinion into the village manager to let him know that I was very unhappy with the way the plans are going. We explained to this gentleman what we want, and as Dennis had said before, we're the ones that are voting on this, and we do want it to go, we want it to move through. But if it keeps coming back with everything that we're telling them we don't want on it, it's not going to get approved. So I think that we really need to sit down, and otherwise just ask the public. Do they want to fill it from end to end with buildings, basically eliminate the community center? Because like I said, 800 square foot is nothing. That's 4 tables that you could fit in the building. So
I'd like to comment to that because that couldn't be further from the truth.
Okay.
The village hall, or the boardroom combination community center has a wall that separates the room that we really wanted this wall, because the wall, actually you can have 2 events going on at the same time. The wall is a $90,000 wall. With that opened up, what is the square footage here, Mike? Or
It's several thousand square feet. But Mayor, just to be clear, what you're talking about is a retractable wall that exists in the building today that the architects are arguing that we reuse because it's an expensive piece of apparatus. So the 2 rooms together, as the architect described, you'll be able to open up the room and use the entire room, which will be a little bit more than twice this size. It's a huge room.
So the combination of the village boardroom and the room that can be cordoned off as a separate meeting room, which Trustee Yukich is referring to as 800 or so square feet. The use of the village hall itself, the boardroom, is used twice a month by the village board for meetings, twice a month for the plan commission for meetings. The smaller rooms that are built for committees and what have you to meet in yield the largest portion of this building. This is around 3,000 square feet when you take into consideration the boardroom and the extra room that could be separated by a sound barrier wall. It is the largest portion of the building. So for a trustee to sit here and say that the community center is 800 square feet, no, the community center is 3,000-ish square feet. That's the truth. That's the truth. As far as the builder, that I believe that the layout that Mark Bushwood is presenting, he brought 4 layouts forward. 10 of the 11 people, including engineers, builders, staff members, trustees, the mayor, were 10-1 in favor of this. I look at this as being, it has some additional space for the future. I kept getting reminded during the meeting that the future is now. We're so short right now of space. Take a walk back and look in those offices back there. We don't have room. we need room, and we need room for what I constantly say is the future, and get reminded by staff, the future is now. So the building is laid out, in my opinion, very nicely, according with 10 other people that sat on that committee. And the largest room in the entire building is the combination of the village boardroom and the community center. So the people that want to use the community center will be able to do just about anything they want in there. It's tremendously large, with very little reconstruction that has to be done in that room, because the room is going to remain open for a village boardroom, and have a barrier wall that can separate out about 850 square feet, thereabouts. So I totally 100% disagree with Trustee Yukich.
Okay, that's fine, you have that right. Is anyone that's been in Woodbine Building and takes a look at it, that it is set up with 2 banquet facilities and 1 that was a restaurant. Looks like a Swiss chalet on the inside, which there's virtually nothing wrong with it whatsoever. That originally was going to be the community, actually was set up by the mayor as a senior community center.
That was never set up by the mayor. That room was never set up by the mayor. The mayor said that he felt that a component of that building should be for community use, as we let this room be used for community use, and in the future, there's going to be more space for community use. That's what I said.
You're changing your tune
No.
every time we talk about this.
No, I'm not changing my tune, because the largest portion of the building is the community center.
The way it works is we have $2.4 million of village money. That's the taxpayers' money. You're spending on it to gut out a building that doesn't need to be gutted out. The community center should be on the opposite side, so they have access through just a public entrance, not coming into the village hall side. And the community room actually was, from a drawing that was 4 weeks ago, was completely eliminated from the plans until we discussed it and understood that we made a promise to the residents. Well, the mayor made a promise to the residents. We kind of got included on it, which there was no discussion about it. All I'm trying to say is we're spending a hell of a lot of money here for something that doesn't have to be spent. This is a village hall. There is nothing special about it except it's an office where we run the village. To put in the plans, anyone that's been in Woodbine knows how open it is. This will be Village Hall. We have 51 rooms in the building, and right now there is nobody that's going to use probably 15 to 20 of them. We're taking down the fireplace that's inside the room right now, and to me, like I said, it is a waste of money. All this is right now, this is just something that was thrown in there at the last minute to appease a community room, which is not a community room. But no sense in arguing about it.
I don't want to argue with Trustee Yukich either, but I really wish I could find where this crystal ball is that has put a price tag on this building. Nobody has put a price tag on this building, with the exception of 22 architectural firms that went through RFQs. The pile was this high, halfway across my office, that they were qualified to submit for the architectural renderings for this building. Each one of them said it would be between $100 to $150 a square foot. Nobody has put a price tag on it yet. Nobody has gone out for a bid yet. Nobody has asked, can we afford this? We are working conceptually to see what we can afford and stay within budget. But this stuff of we're overspending, we haven't spent. We hired an architect to design and render drawings for us that will go out to construction bid when they're done. And if we can't afford it, we can't afford it. We cut back. If we can afford it, it's a well-designed building. And Mark Bushhouse, his firm was one of the 3 finalists. And I go back to saying, I did not pick them, but I can tell you who did pick them. George picked them. So if he's got problems with them, he's the guy that selected that firm, not Jim Daly.
Oh, okay. That sounds real good.
Well, it's true. Is it true?
I picked them, the board picked them.
Is it true? Did you pick them?
No. Personally.
Did you vote for them? Did you vote for
As
them?
a village board, we voted for them.
Did you? I didn't vote for them.
The village board, you
I
don't
didn't
vote.
vote for them.
You don't vote unless there's a tie.
Ted K. Janis didn't vote for him.
Right.
Marcia DeVivo didn't vote for him. You did, though. All right.
I
We'll
really
move
don't
on
think,
here.
I really don't think it comes down to the architect. I don't think we're talking about the architect. I think any architect is going to draw plans according to what the discussions are. Listen to some, ignore others. And I think this is what's happened. But to say that who picked what architect, it really doesn't matter. There were 4 choices that this particular architect brought forward. And Plan 1 looked best because it offered a combination of a chamber room and a community room together. However, it wasn't exactly exciting, but people saw different parts of it. They liked where the police would be going. My comment was I didn't want to see the fireplace gone. I thought that room should be utilized and not really utilized for offices. We did not have any discussion on room specific, where a room would go. We wanted staff to be comfortable. We wanted staff to be able to work in a good environment and so forth. But yes, there are some rooms there that probably are not needed and not needed now. So starting from that point, there still needs to be a lot of work done. But I believe that as far as money is concerned, we are looking at a lot of money for this. No, we haven't spent any yet, and it hasn't gone out to bid. But we're trying to keep the expenses down, and there are some things that have been in these contracts that have been questioned because of the price. So.
And I'm sure there will be. Anyway, this is their bill for the October professional consulting services. We have a first and a second.
I have just a quick
Go
question,
ahead,
Mayor.
Trustee Suisse.
On the log, can you correct the amount? Because the amount on the log is different than...
will.
Oh.
I noticed that a minute ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's it?
If she's done, or if anybody, if anybody else wants to say something, I can wait.
No, go ahead.
When the bill is presented, it just gives a fee. It says concept plan, existing conditions, special needs assessment, and so forth. But it really, and we've been provided with some pages here of what it costs, who's doing what, and this is page 20, principal 2, principal 1, and what their costs are per hour. But I don't see an itemized listing, and I would like to see that. I'd also like to see an itemized listing for the reimbursable expenses. Some that are listed here, they don't say exactly, they're not detailed, it's just vehicle mileage, tolls. It could include parking expense. We don't have a parking expense here. So, but I'd like that to be done. I mean, that's done when I have work done at my house. I want to know how many hours they spend at a certain thing, and itemize what their time was. I believe that should be done on the next one, or it could be done on this one. If we approve this one, he should come in with an itemized listing of the accounting of how he figured it.
Okay, Cam, can you ask him to do a little more detailed explanation?
Absolutely.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I would like that. If he could do it for this bill and any future bills, that would be very helpful.
Great. Okay, any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Yukic.
All right.
Motion carries. This would be J11. Is there a motion to approve the 2014 village staff cost of living pay increases that include the following? A 4.5% salary increase for part-time staff member Jim Walikowski, retroactive to his individual employment anniversary, and a 2.1 cost of living pay increase for all 12 full-time staff members, retroactive to May 1st, 2014.
So moved.
First by trustee Costa,
I second.
second by trustee Suisse. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
I have a quick question.
Go ahead, trustee Suisse.
When was the last time there was a COLA adjustment?
We do a COLA adjustment annually. And
Annually?
We do a COLA, yeah, every year we do both a COLA adjustment and then there's a merit adjustment based on performance for the previous year.
Okay.
That's all set up by SOP.
Is that always done in November? Because I did not see anything.
Well, I would like for it to be done sooner, but the last couple of years it's been
November.
around this time of year, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes we tend to like to look to see how the budget's going, just to make sure that everything's falling in the right place, which it is, so
Okay.
it's helpful to wait a little while.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
You had a,
Okay,
trustee Sabo?
I believe page 51 was from John, or was put on here. Is this pertaining to?
Yes, that's the CPI that we used per the,
Okay, I would like to
Census
explain,
Bureau's.
it does say the finance director, John Sawyers, has determined that this year's COLA adjustment will be 2.1%. So I just wanted you to explain so that we know, so the public knows how this, how you derived at that
Yeah,
decision.
sure. The village board has an SOP that controls this, and the SOP specifically says how we determine the COLA. And what I do every year is I say to John, could you check on what the CPIW is, and then John handles that. He does the research on it.
that's a geographic specific cost of living based on the Midwest region. And that's the same benchmark that we used the past few years.
What has the cost of been in the past, do you recall?
I think it was about 1.5 last year, which and this year it's 2.1.
And before that, do you remember?
I don't recall, but it's been
Been low.
around this. It's been around this. So it goes up.
Moves around.
It goes up and down, and the staff understands that when it's lower, that's what the COLA is, and then of course when it's higher, that's what the COLA is, in the hope that over a period of years it kind of evens out.
Okay.
Okay, does that answer your question, Margaret?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Yukic.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be J12. Is there a motion to authorize the village manager to petition the Plan Commission to initiate a text amendment that would amend the Plan Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals meetings and rules to permit the use of a site plan for a sign variance application?
So moved.
First by trustee Yukic,
Second.
second by trustee Costa. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, trustee Yukic.
What I had explained to village manager Davis is that we're not looking to change the ordinance forever. All we're looking is for the board, more or less to give a variance to what is before us now. So this would only be a temporary change, allowing everyone to be able to use a site plan, or if they have up-to-date plats, they could use that for the sign, so they don't have to spend extra money to get an extra plat. So, like I said, this is not for anything coming into the village. This is strictly for what's already here.
And one thing that will be part of this whole thing is that what do you call it? A site plan is basically, my boundary is from here to here. It's not a survey, okay? So the party that comes in and gets a variance under a site plan will be personally responsible for whether or not that is on their property or not. So that needs to be understood. that if we're going to accept site plans, the site plan has to be correct, or it's the property owner's responsibility.
Mayor, just oh, I'm sorry, trustee.
Everything they do up and down 159th Street, the state is coming in and putting their own monuments in. So they've already done the plan on the situation. So if you go off of the monuments that the state puts in, you don't even need the site plan. That's your marking.
So just for the board's information, at the Administration and Finance Committee, just in the effort to move this along, because obviously we have people looking at signage and things of that nature, I asked the committee if I had 4 votes there in support of this, and the committee said yes, because I wanted to give Aaron the ability to actually advertise, to do the legal posting for this. So I just didn't want you to think that we do that in advance of getting direction from you. I actually did poll the A&F committee, and they all 4 agreed. So it will move quickly, which I think is good. That's what we want.
It has to, because they have to have it done by March 1st, and the weather's changing, so they have to get these signs moved.
So I think it's posted for one of the Plan Commission's meetings in December.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a comment, Mayor.
Go ahead.
But is the Plan Commission going to be aware this is just for 159th Street and not, or for those being affected by a road widening?
Right. It's not actually written in the way that it's just for 159th Street, okay? But we can, pass that information along to the Plan Commission and have them discuss it.
Okay. Well, any type of road, like Bell Road or anybody affected.
Right. It's written in a way that this is available for everyone equally. Okay?
Right now.
Whether or not, no matter what road you are on. Now, the interesting thing about that, of course, is that all 3 of your major commercial districts are going to be having road projects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
does that answer your question, Trustee Suisse?
Well, it does, but I'm not sure if that was the consensus of, that we wanted this available for anybody and everybody to use a site plan.
No, this is for the roads that come under construction.
Okay.
People that come in to submit plans to the village will be asked for a survey. In all honesty, you're not going to sell your property without a survey. The bank is going to ask for a survey for whoever is going to buy it in the future. So you will end up having to have a survey at some point. The site plan, we are trying to accommodate the situation, knowing that you're going to be under construction. It's costly to your business. I've seen it. We've all seen it. So that's our purpose. But come time that you want to move on or whatever, you will absolutely have to have a survey for a bank. Just letting you know.
So, Mayor, just real quick for staff's information, is it the will of the board members that are here that this is only in place for signs that are affected by a road project, which in our instance would mean the IDOT project and the county projects that are coming? Is that? I see 3 shaking your heads.
Yes.
Trustee Sabo?
Well, I believe this was prompted because of when Ace Hardware owner George Murch was here. He was saying what imposition he had placed on him, but it should be for roads under construction. The county roads, Bell, 143rd to 159th Street. However, it's not specific.
Right.
It doesn't say that.
That's why I was just asking the board. So we'll make slight adjustments to it to account for that.
Well, I think that the Plan Commission then should know.
They will,
I mean, do we
'cause we'll
have to amend this motion to include roads that are impacted by
If you're
county?
comfortable with me making the change, I'll make the change for you. I understand your intent.
I am comfortable with you making the change, but I would like to have the motion amended to include that, so that...
Does the motion need to
They
be...
just amend the motion. Somebody make a motion to amend the motion.
Go ahead, Mark.
George, you have it.
Okay. I make the motion to amend the motion to include all of the roads that are under construction.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I second.
Second by Trustee Suisse.
Ready for roll.
Roll call.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Before we get to K, we've got to go back to a part of the consent agenda that was moved off the meeting. This would be I-5. Is there a motion to approve authorizing an agreement with Rags Electric for the removal and relocation of a streetlight electric service line in the Erin Hills Unit D subdivision.
I so move.
First by trustee Sabo,
I second.
second by trustee Swees. Is there any discussion? Madam
Well,
Clerk?
I just, oh.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to bring up in page 2, where it says non-LLC subdivisions would be paid out of the village bond fund. All, 5, 6, and 7 made that reference, and that's what I wanted to bring up. Even though the budget implication was then a different code. So I wasn't sure why that was stated like that.
Does it say bond fund? It says
Yes, it
capital
does, in the
projects
top
fund.
paragraph.
No.
Where does it say bond fund?
Page 2, under staff recommends accepting the proposal from Rags Electric. So
It says-
that was,
Oh, there, it says, it's the capital project fund, which is under
Okay,
the
well-
budget implications. All three of these are under the capital project fund. The non-LOC, $500,000 that was set aside under the capital.
okay, well, that was, I wanted to bring that up and discuss it.
I asked this, the same thing happened where it was to be paid out of the village bond fund, which it should not be. And in the minutes that we approved tonight, on page 17, I asked the same question. Trustee Sabo commented that the supplement sheet, which was given to the village board regarding the expenditure, indicated was previously determined that the work in non-LA subdivisions would be paid for out of the village bond fund. So this was supposed to be corrected, so.
Well, it's just, Mike's at the table. Mike wrote these. He made an error by including those two words.
I'm sorry,
And
there's too much noise, I can't.
Hold on, guys, let's go. Trying to run a meeting.
Mike's hearing your feedback. Okay, he wrote these agenda supplement sheets, so he won't make that mistake. And again, that's just an honest mistake. He just put two words in that he didn't mean to put in.
Okay, that was all, that
Okay.
was the only reason why I brought them up.
Under the budget section, you notice, budget implications, it talks about the capital improvement fund. So that's where it's really coming.
Okay.
Well, we've said this before. John Sawyers has responded to me before, that it's confusing when these funds are mixed, and I think we should have a separate fund for the bond fund.
We do.
We do.
But it's
Well,
not
then-
listed that way.
No.
Again, Mike just put two words in that he shouldn't have put
No,
in, so he
but
won't
it's
do that
not,
again.
but it's very
It's-
difficult, to find out if it's the bond fund or it's not the bond fund, and I think that it's, that it should be made clear.
Okay, so the capital project is Fund 70, the bond fund is 72, okay? It's always been 72. So you see under the budget implications, this is clearly said that it's coming out of Fund 70.
Okay.
70-00-85-630. So the problem is, we just slipped in those two words, bond fund, and we won't make that mistake again.
Okay, all right.
Well,
Wait, because that's still not correct. I asked a month and a half ago or two, I want to see it say strictly bond fund, not mixing money. Because throwing a bond into the capital fund to me is you're mixing money.
The bond fund is a capital project type fund, which is accounting lingo, and we are governed by those principles. That's what that references, a capital project type fund. You could call it bond fund, that's not a problem.
Just separate it out, because even before you said the capital fund.
It is separate.
is including the bond.
He
It's
just-
still
he
listed
just-
under capital fund.
He
I
just
understand
finished
what you're
saying it's
saying, John.
separated.
Mayor, I understand what he's trying to say, but here's where we run into a problem, and I'll bring the papers for the next meeting. When we first talked about buying Woodbine, it was mentioned that the money would come from the land acquisition, from the general fund, and from the capital fund. So we all agreed to it, to buy Woodbine. It took $1.4 million. And like I said, I'll bring you the papers to show where it said that. Then after we bought it, it came to us that 1.4 million of it was the bond fund. What everyone here has to remember is when the money was borrowed for the bond fund, it was borrowed with the anticipation of strictly paying for three things. It was the water line, it was 159th Street, and it was flooding control. Now it's purchased part of the park, and we don't know where else the money is going. The problem is, you've got umpteen thousand numbers that are on these things. John, you understand them. Here's our packet. This is what we get on Friday when we're reading it. We don't have time to go through every single solitary thing, read what it is. call and get questions because Saturday and Sunday we can't get it done in the first place. All we're asking for is we are the ones that vote on it to spend the money. In order to do that, I want it plain and simple, black and white, that I can look down and I can say, okay, this is coming out of this fund because it's minus money. Not when you're reading off the numbers and you're saying that the capital fund has got 22 million and in that is 15 million from the bond fund, because you're mixing money.
Yeah, I could segregate that in the future, but there are 4 funds that are purged into that capital project type fund. So it'll just be a 2-page report, and that's not a problem. I included a worksheet, but it's not clear enough. So the November statement, I'll just list all of the funds, and it'll be easier to assess where the funds are, and where they're being spent.
Okay,
Sure, that's not a problem.
And for the record, Trustee Yukich is absolutely wrong. It was voted upon to take the 1.4 million equal amounts, including from the bond fund, that was voted on, okay? That, the 1/3 of the money to buy Woodbine Golf Course was taken from the bond fund. The bond fund, I've read this, I will read it again when he brings his notes. The bond fund in paragraph 3 says it can be used for any capital improvement project, period. That's what it says. Now, whether he wants to admit it or not, we voted on a bond. The fact is, I have it on my desk. I can read it to you 10,000 times, and you don't want to believe what we passed. Okay, well, that's what we passed. So it wasn't taken from stolen from the bond fund. You agreed to take it from the bond fund. You agreed that it was a capital improvement for the benefit of the village of Homer Glen, and that's exactly how it reads in the bond fund. But I don't want to argue with you, so let's keep moving on here.
Well, I'd like to comment on that.
Go right ahead.
There was a public meeting. People were very concerned about borrowing money. People were concerned about that this village was going to borrow money for the first time. And we were very specific on the 3 things that the bond fund would be used for. It would be for the water line, the transmission line. It would be used for flooding projects. It would be used for 159th Street improvements. Those 3 things I still stand by. And that's what the public heard, that's what the public believed.
That's not what was passed.
However, when we got the ordinance, there was this other part that the mayor had referred to, that it could be any improvement project. Now, that's not what the people wanted. They didn't want for any improvement project. I mean, the bond fund money could be depleted very quickly. And as far as bond money paying for Woodbine, that was the first time it was overlooked. It should not have been in there. And to this day, I think that it should be pulled out, and and money should be replaced. So this bond fund is not being paid. Woodbine is not being paid for by any portion that has to do with the bond fund.
Okay, well, this is I-5, and it has to do with a motion authorizing an agreement with Rags Electric for the removal. There was Mike wrote 2 words. They're 2 separate funds. It will come out of the other fund. Are there any further questions on I-5?
And how would we know that this is being corrected?
Why don't you just table all 3 of them until the next meeting?
That would be a good idea. I table them all 3. I table I-5, I table I-6, I table I-7, and to bring it back in the correct form.
Okay, there's no discussion. Is there a motion to table 5, 6, 7?
So moved.
First by Trustee Yukich.
I second.
Second by Trustee Suisse. Madam Roll, you need to calm down here. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
What was that, 4 ayes?
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, so then we go back to K, which is old business. Is there a motion to consider for approval ordinance 14-067, An ordinance authorizing the issuance of a special use to permit a planned development for the property commonly known as 12050 West 179th Street, Mokina, Illinois, law firm.
I so
This,
move.
hold on, this approval is conditioned upon the items shown below. Events are permitted on the subject property during the months of April through November. All events held on subject property can begin at 9 a.m. and must terminate by dusk. Two new advertising signs, no larger than 2 by 5 in size, can be displayed on the property year-round. A sign permit must be obtained for these signs. A tent not to exceed 30 by 60 in size shall not be installed before March 30th of each year and shall be removed on or before December 1st of each year. Ancillary tents may be used for individual events as needed. Alcohol may be served on the subject property provided the petitioner obtains a liquor license and a special use to permit the sale of alcoholic beverages as required by village ordinance. 6, food and non-alcoholic beverages may be served on the subject property subject to the approval of the Will County Health Department. And 7, ADA compliant restroom facilities will be provided for each event as determined by the building department. And 8, music may be played during all events.
I so move.
First by trustee Sabo.
Second.
Second by that was trustee Costa. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Just a couple quick questions, maybe some clarifications. I think this is a wonderful project. I think it's going to be wonderful. But on the first page, just for clarification, again, under number 5, near the end it says license and special use to permit the sale of alcoholic beverages. Is that the sale of alcoholic beverages? I mean, do you plan on having people walk up and be able to buy a drink? Or is that just the verbiage for, because it's going to be included in a package? I want to make sure that we're clear on that. I don't have an issue either way, but I don't want someone to come back later and say, well, I can sell it, but it wasn't the board's intent or anybody's intent for you to actually sell alcohol at an event.
Well, Trustee Costa, what all
Go
this
ahead.
does is give them the opportunity to apply for a permit.
Right.
So as they go through the permit process, that's when all that would be laid out in terms of what their intention
Oh, okay, all right. And again, I don't have an issue either way. I just want to make sure there's no misunderstanding.
Right,
that could
absolutely.
maybe come back to them.
Absolutely.
The other thing, too, is page 4, number 2, it says, the Plan Commission motion stated that the event on the property could begin at 9 a.m. and must terminate at dusk. The petitioner has requested extended hours. Did you request extended hours past dusk, or is that just a typo?
I think that means until dusk.
Okay, just until dusk, okay. And only one, that's all, just a couple points of
Okay.
clarification.
Is there any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Congratulations. All right. This would be, that was old business. Under new business, we have trustee Yukich wanted to talk something about subdivision salting.
The only thing I have in that is I had a note sent to me where they're having a safety problem. This is in Stonebridge. I know we don't have the streets turned over to us, but it was too late in the year for the developer to do it. They are doing their own plowing. For last year, they had ice and they had just, the roads were slippery. They're looking for us to please go in there and salt because they have a problem with the roads being slippery. The school bus goes through the subdivision. They just want to make sure everyone's safe. They do pay the taxes. They're not getting any benefit from it right now. The highway department does not have to do anything with the streets. They will be plowed by the developer, but they are looking for us to salt them. And I would like a consensus from the board to see if we all agree.
I personally can't take a stand on it at this point because the price of salt has gone right through the roof. Not that you compromise safety for salt, but at the same time, I can't commit the highway commissioner to X amount of dollars that he might not have. So I will give trustee DeVivo, or Commissioner DeVivo a call tomorrow and discuss this topic with him.
Okay. Thank
Okay?
you.
Okay, is there any other new business? Okay, then I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
First by trustee Costa,
Second.
second by trustee Yukich. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries, meeting adjourned.